Welcome into a special edition of the PHNX Coyotes podcast. I'm Leah Merrall here with Steve Peters and Chierstin Susel, who has just returned from the Tempe City Council meeting, where the Tempe City Council tonight voted unanimously to send the Coyotes' proposed arena and entertainment district to a public referendum, and the Tempe citizens will vote in May. Chierstin, what went down tonight? What can you tell us about what happened?
Well, I think the first thing that's worth noting is this was something that the Coyotes came and requested. So the Coyotes brought forth a statement, and Javier Gutierrez, president and CEO, mentioned that the reason that they are requesting it to go to referendum is so that they can show their commitment to stay in the city of Tempe. It started with their commitment to stay in Arizona. Now it's their commitment to stay in the city of Tempe, followed by transparency, and then also inclusivity. And so they are saying that by opening it up to the public, everybody gets a chance to feel like they have a say in all of this. And so the Coyotes were the one that brought this forth to the city council to vote on. And that was the reason why, but they also had the reason of wanting to make sure that they reserved a spot on the May ballot as well. So there was an option to do it later in the year, which, Mayor Woods said it's probably not in our best interest to do that. And they were able to secure it for that May 16th date.
There's a lot of concern, maybe some misconceptions, both online, on Twitter, and frankly, in here too, that there was a misstep by the city council, or this is bad news for the Coyotes, or this is not a good path for them to go down. That's not the case, is it?
I don't think so at all. I mean, I think with a project at this magnitude that so many people have so many things to say about, by allowing it to open up to the public, the city council is going to vote on it as well. Then it's going to go to the public, and all residents are going to be able to have a say in this. Something that I asked about, because you mentioned this is bad for the Coyotes, something that I certainly asked about, sure, and questions were sort of deflected, was, hey, this opens up to ASU faculty, ASU students that are residents. They have already created a partnership with ASU. And so for the Coyotes' sake, I would say that is a win in and of itself, ASU being the biggest employer in Tempe. So if you want to take a look at it just from that perspective, and I asked even Javier, you guys have already created this partnership. Are you excited that, ASU is now going to be able to come in and have a say in this? And, we're excited for everybody to vote, right? They don't want to touch it. Right. But that's where my mind goes immediately.
What was the general sentiment? You had the opportunity to speak with Mayor Woods, to speak with Javier Gutierrez, president and CEO of the Coyotes. What was their general, sentiment from both sides, from the city council side and from the Coyotes side?
I think from the city council side, it's a little bit of a relief. I think it was Randy Keating that mentioned that this whole ordeal had sort of sucked the air out of the room for a lot of people. It was just such a big proposed project that had the city of Phoenix opposing it, and the airport coming in at that last city council meeting, and had a very scary, I don't want to call it a performance, but what they had planned and spoke about was frightening, and it seemed like this wasn't going to be possible without lawsuits and this and all. There was so much involved in all of this. And so from the city council aspect, I think it's a little bit of we feel better because it's not just on our shoulders, and the residents of this city are actually going to be able to have a say in it.
And I want to be really clear, though, because I think this is the biggest takeaway people need to have from this is this deal is not dead. This isn't a bad news for the deal, and this is still moving forward. And this is, I guess, in a sense, it's still good news. This plan is still in place, and it's still moving forward.
Very much still moving forward. Yeah, I think another thing that the city really wanted to make sure they do moving forward is get all the information out about just the details of this proposal so that residents are also able to be informed about it. And so they're going to make a commitment to getting that up online before this election. And I asked Javier, you talked about commitment tonight. Is that also something that you guys are going to be committed to, is making sure that you give the proper amount of information with the proper amount of transparency to residents, so that the city can put it up online and anybody can go and pull all of the information up that they need to be able to make an educated and informed decision on that. And so that was also a focus of like, if we are going to do this and we are going to allow residents to vote on it, then we need to make sure that they are equipped with all of the information.
Yeah, I think there's some misconceptions out there about, that Tempe residents would have to take on the tax burden. That's not the case. So definitely a long road ahead here for the Coyotes and the city to put out all the accurate information so people can not only vote, but make an informed decision. So the decision tonight, November 10th, this was to send it to referendum. There's still going to be a vote, though, on November 29th for the city of Tempe to, vote on some items, which include a development and disposition agreement, a general plan amendment, and a zoning amendment, all of those political things. But so the city council will vote on the 29th for that. If that goes through, everything moves forward. If they, vote against this all is over. So this is a great next step for the Coyotes, for the city of Tempe, and like we said, now it's in the hands of everyone else to decide, and that's, it's going to be in their city.
I think that the Coyotes do really have, they really feel that this is in the best interest, what am I trying to say here? The best
interest?
Interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on the right track there. In the best interest of residents as well. Javier talked about, like, just remember what this land is. It's a landfill. And he also mentioned, by the way, it was just a few months ago that it caught on fire. So, like, he literally said that
burning
tonight.
Garbage.
So there's literally burning garbage here. So I think they feel like they have a really strong case and proposal to promote it to Tempe residents of like, hey, we're not trying to hide anything. This is really good for the community. Not only is it good because of the jobs it's going to bring in and all of all the details of that whole thing, but like, look at what we're cleaning up. So I think they feel very confident in their proposal, and the way that Tempe residents for the most part are going to view it. It's also worth noting that there was only one member of the public that came in and spoke at all tonight, and that was one person that that had a story of a poor interaction that he allegedly had with the Coyotes. So it's almost apples to oranges when you compare this city council meeting to the one that we had over the summer. But the one that we had
plus people,
the one that we had over the summer, it was like there were so many people that came out they just didn't want the Coyotes touching the city of Tempe. And so to only have, you only had one member of the public, it was a lot quieter. This meeting was not as big of a deal, obviously. But I think everybody feels really confident.
And I think now it's going to be about information.
Yes.
And what is the deal? What's the proposal? Where does the money come from? And we've already said that it's not the Tempe taxpayers. So that's going to be important. They're going to get into the airport. We're going to get into the other side of it as this goes on. As long as they're informed, I think that's all we can ask for, is get people informed so they understand exactly what's going on. And we can get rid of the hearsay and the rumors. But this deal is absolutely moving forward, and this is not bad news for the Coyotes. Everything's on track and everything's okay.
Yep.
And like I said, the Coyotes, they were the ones that asked for this too. So and
I think that helps get the project done quicker.
Yeah.
Because we get the vote in May, and then once that happens, then it's go. Let's get shovels going.
When I talk about relief too, and this is just me kind of like reading the room type of deal, nobody mentioned it, but I did feel like there was a little bit of a sense of relief that they were, the residents were going to be able to vote, so not everything was on them, but also that like, I don't think they want this to drag on any longer than the Coyotes want it to drag on. It's been everybody's best interest that it moves forward as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing everyone should remember too is the Coyotes are sharing the building with ASU for 3 years. They have an option for a 4th year. There's been a lot of concern about, just pushing this 6 months. How far does that push back the proposal? How far does that push back the building? Well, the Coyotes have plans in place right now to accommodate that. So I think, this based on what Chierstin said, that the Coyotes were the ones that brought this to Tempe, I think that says all we need to know about the confidence level that this is going to get done, or at least that, they'll put it in the hands of the citizens, and then it's up to the citizens. But, this is something that they feel confident in. So, we can take that and interpret it
Yeah,
we will.
and playing at ASU does another thing too. It builds that relationship not only with the university, but with the city of Tempe. And this gives them time to show, hey, we are committed to this. We are committed to this city and this community and this university campus. And I think that that's very big in getting this to happen over the next 3 or 4 months.
You know, I am sure just because of the way that business works in general, I don't care if you're talking about the Coyotes or, you know, if it was any other business, you're going to have a backup plan of some sort, right? Like, I'm sure they do, but they were asked, let's just say that the residents shoot this down. Do you have other plans in place? And Javier Gutierrez was adamant, Tempe is where we want to be.
Yep.
All right. Well, Chierstin, thank you so much for attending that and giving us all the information that we need to know. We'll dive into this much more on the PHNX Coyotes postgame show. So be sure to subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel and follow PHNX_Coyotes on Twitter for more. Thanks.